And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host, Dan, aka smAsho. Thanks for tuning into the smAsho channel. Today's Daily Space Weather video is going to be about CSQs. We're going to be talking about naming that sunspot, 2782. We're going to be talking about snow for a brief moment and a deep quake. First, we're going to look at the sun here in a composite view, colorized magnetogram at 171 angstroms. Here's a full disk, and let's zoom in on the southern hemisphere as that's where the action is happening. You can see sunspot 2782. Surprised that it's not named yet. Maybe it is already named. We are doing this live. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux, now at 87 solar flux units. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Welcome to the cycle 25. Welcome to whatever. And let's look at some more data here. Here's a graph of the 10.7 centimeter radio flux going back into 2017 here. And again, we are still at levels not seen since the year 2017. And we've got some delightful HelioViewer movies for you. Check it out. Here's sunspot 2782 in magnetogram. Here it is in 193 angstroms. That's actually yesterday's images. Here is... Oh, you're going to have to bear with me a moment, folks. I don't know what happened there. For some reason, the browser is not showing me. All right. This is what I meant to show you. Sorry about that. The dangers of viewing live. All right. So here's sunspot 2782 from today, 11/11/2020. It's 94 angstroms, and we actually caught some activity happening there. A great view. The 94 angstroms wavelength takes 10 images per minute instead of only 2. That and the 131 angstroms are the higher temporal resolution wavelengths. Great view of sunspot 2782. Here it is in 171 angstroms. And here's an even larger sunspot group, 2781, as it approaches the southwestern limb. We're showing you this in magnetogram, 304 angstroms and 171 angstroms combined. So it's a three-way composite. If you see any anomalous looking readings there, they're not perfectly aligned. But a great view of sunspot 2781. And let's talk smash lights, as we've got a couple subjects to cover today. Allow me to reappear. So first of all, I'd like to thank our patrons, the true source of funding for the content. Please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/smAsho. Thanks to our patrons. And did you see our ringtones yesterday? Leave a comment if you liked the audio. If you didn't like the audio, if you've got requests, we'll consider them. Don't forget to check our links, smAsho.com. It's all linked below the video. And we've got a new addition here to the smAsho store. So if you see that link there, smAsho store, all our social media is up here in the upper right, by the way, underneath that. And the smAsho store and the Smash store. So if you head to the Smash store, lately we've been showing the smAsho store. This is the Smash store. We've got a new item here. By the way, congratulations to our viewer who received the shirt, won the contest. I believe it's this one, the medium blue. It's the Cygnus shirt, Cygnus X3, Alpha Cygni. The star Deneb is the brightest object in the Cygnus constellation. And, well, the Wolf-Rayet star is orbited by a more massive companion, apparently, and there's a giant disk of ionized dust and gas in between them, and one of those jets from that massive object is pointed right toward Earth. It's one of the only known point sources for cosmic rays. Cygnus X3, the high-mass X-ray binary system, which is the star Deneb, one of the brightest. In fact, it is the most intrinsically luminous object visible from our solar system in the galaxy. Let's talk masks, since we've gone into a realm of complete covidiocy. And I'm talking about a specific kind of masks right here. I'm not going to be talking about cloth masks or people wearing their shirts up like Cornholio or balaclavas. I'm talking about specifically this kind of ultra cheap I think they're made of polyethylene. Is it polyethylene? I forget. Anyway, the components aren't really important. The point is that some people seem to think masks are dangerous. All right, and there's various different theories going around the internet as to why they're dangerous. The primary one is that they think that, oh, having this mask over your face, partially covering your face, is going to reduce your oxygen levels. Now, it doesn't reduce your oxygen levels. Some doctor even ran a marathon while wearing one of these masks. It's not going to cause CO2 toxicity in your blood unless you've already got serious problems, in which case if you've got respiratory illnesses, you shouldn't be really wearing any masks, period. If you're sick, stay home. And listen, here's the deal. To quote Joe Biden, here's the deal. I've got dermatitis all over my face and my neck. And it's because my employer forces us to wear an employee-provided mask. So you can't just come in wearing your own balaclava. Like, I mean, I have a silk balaclava that I wear when I go out to the store or anything like that. As long as I'm not in the lab, I wear this silk balaclava pulled down so it only covers my nose and mouth, and my neck, of course. I don't wear the whole face mask. So, that's one of the alternatives to this kind of mask. But the point is, there are fibers in these masks. If you take a bright light and you go like this, you will see fibers flying all over the place. And I have a feeling they're not particularly healthful to inhale. So when they're on your face, I don't know if maybe the solution is to run these kind of masks through the wash first before ever wearing them. I'm trying to get the information on what these particular ones, our employee-provided masks, are made of, because, frankly, my inflammatory markers are through the roof. I've got a series of problems associated with the inflammation, possibly from inhaling these substances, as the rash didn't only appear here, it actually appeared behind my knees as well, indicating that I probably inhaled something or that there were chemicals absorbed directly from skin contact. But in any case, in order to get a rash that spreads that far, it's got to be from some kind of toxins. So, I don't have any other underlying medical conditions. And consumer tip, the girlfriend wore a mask for about 40 minutes on Sunday, and she still has a rash today. It's now Tuesday. So she's got some rash around her ears, by her nose and stuff, and it's because of wearing the masks. So, by the way, having a rash all over your skin makes you more susceptible to viruses, bacteria, and fungal infections. Allow me to get off the screen and go back to these articles. So this is the kind of mask that I'm talking about here, and I would highly recommend that you look deeply into wearing these things before doing so. Because, again, if our employer allowed us to wear any kind of masks we wanted, it wouldn't be a problem. However, we're required to wear a, quote, employer-provided mask. And it's a problem. So, since COVID-19, face masks are a potential source of microplastic fibers in the environment, and thanks to the Twitter user, I won't mention your name, but if you'd like to leave a comment, please do so, for finding this article as I searched and searched and searched for yesterday about the possible chemical breakdown of what's causing these issues. So normally I wouldn't talk about such a thing in Daily Space Weather. If you follow us on Facebook, you may have seen posts about this, and Don't forget to follow Entropy Busters as well on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Get us to maybe 500 followers finally. We've got over 3,000 posts there, including a recent image of Sunspot 2782. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well. And check this out. Thanks to David Dubine. Drop me a line, David Dubine. The Divine Dubine. Drop me a line. Turns out Saudi Arabia has approved the draft meteorology system, which includes a 10-year prison sentence and a fine of $330,000 USD equivalent for anyone who practices weather monitoring without a license. It's a hailstorm, look out! You go to jail for 10 years. If you enjoy the content on YouTube, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. And here's a little comment about YouTube. We've placed 2 videos private yesterday. One of them is called No Blue Smash Lights. No blue wave occurred. Election fraud or legitimate results. And the other one is called Smashlight, social media, big tech, electioneering, fraud, scams, elections don't freeload. So perhaps check those out at BitChute, because now they're BitChute exclusives. You can't see them on YouTube anymore. And why is that? Well, because here at the Smash News Network, when we have our content shadow banned and throttled, if your video gets demonetized on YouTube, for all you content creators out there, if your video gets demonetized on YouTube, it'll be buried in search, it'll never be recommended for up next, and it will never appear in recommended videos at all. So a demonetization is the definition of a shadow ban. And by the way, YouTube is the world's 2nd largest search engine after the Google fraudware, drunkware, spyware search engine. If you're using Google as a verb, please use it to be defined as obtaining biased search results by using the Google fraudware search engine. Here's a clip from Smash Lights. No blue wave occurred. Election fraud or legitimate results. I think it's a clip. Maybe it'll load. I guess I'll have to leave you in suspense. BitChute.com/smashomash. Please branch out into alt tech. We're on Minds.com. We don't care about whatever the other alternatives are because we've been on this for years, and I believe it to be the future of social media. This is the replacement for Facebook, in my opinion. We're also on Gab, gab.com/smashomash. They're all at smashomash. Twitch.tv/smashomash is where we currently stream to. So follow us over there as well if you like. And we typically stream live to Twitch because the Twitch platform is probably the pinnacle of live streaming platforms. And I think it's fantastic. Again, don't forget to visit our links, smashomash.com, smashomash.org. Find all our social media links there. And here ends today's Smash Lights segment. Let's talk cosmology for a brief moment. We've been doing dice throws to figure out which object to study. Today we're not going to do that. Today we're going to talk about asteroid Bennu. Some people seem to think it's hollow inside and that it's doomed to crumble. Why is that? Well, it's because it's got a bunch of density irregularities. It's got some dense regions near the core of it and so on. And it's shedding a lot of debris into space. And it's not really totally understood how this could be. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it doesn't have enough gravity to hold together. Who really knows? But there is a test sample returning. It'll be here in the year 2024 or something. So maybe read about that at extremetech.com. Today we're really going to talk about QSCs. Yes, QSCs. You got to have QSCs. I mean, QSCs. CSQs, which stands for Changing State Quasars. And there's been a seriously changing state quasar studied since 1983, I believe it is. And this thing has gone up 4 orders of magnitude in terms of its light output, and it's across a broad spectrum. So you can find papers about that on phys.org today, for instance. It's got the catchy name of SDSSJ125809.31 plus 351.943.0. You could call it J1258 for short. And it's a pretty interesting changing state quasar in that it's increased its total output here across the entire electromagnetic spectrum 4 orders of magnitude. over the past 50 years. And so maybe read that paper. It's fully available. You can download it. You can link to it from the phys.org article. Just go to phys.org, go to the Astronomy and Space section, and you'll be able to find all of that stuff there. And the observations support the idea that the accretion disk itself has changed and that the variability is not caused by the quasar's jet, because the results show a weakness in radio emission, also suggesting some sort of relationship between radio flux emission and the rest of the electromagnetic spectrum. Is it the jet? Is it the accretion disk? Who really knows? Check it out if you want to read the article again, phys.org in the Astronomy and Space section. And there ends today's cosmology. Next thing I'm going to do is vanish and go back to space, as in the data measured there. Now we've seen an uptick here in the solar wind density over the past 10 hours, and we're currently at about 8 protons per cubic centimeter. This looks like the beginning of another coronal hole wind stream. So don't be surprised to see the density drop down and the speed go up in the next, I'll say, 8 hours. Solar wind speed still quite low at only 317 kilometers per second. We've seen a KP0 for the vast majority of the past 3 days here. Only 2 3-hour periods of time did we even see a KP of 1. So let's look at cosmic rays. Here's the Apatity neutron monitor. And I don't really see an uptick in cosmic ray flux over the past 2 days. Do you? Leave us a comment if you do. And perhaps schedule an appointment at the eye doctor. Next, looking at Barentsburg. And it's flat over the past 2 days and flat over the past 30 days. Let's look at Athens, Greece, going a little farther south here. And by the way, it's all pressure-corrected data. And there is the 30-day chart there. A tiny upward trend at Athens. Mexico City's next on the list. Flat over the past 30 days. And last but not least, Oulu, Finland, and DOMC, Antarctica. And there's Oulu, dead flat over the past 30 days. And here's DOMC, also dead flat over the past 30 days. If you want to monitor these yourself, just look up links to cosmic ray data. You'll find this network of cosmic ray stations site. I like it. Let's look at the geomagnetic environment here around the Earth. It's 4 hours of magnetosphere geospace movies. This one's courtesy of University of Michigan. And we see a small uptick here in the magnetohydrodynamic pressure surrounding the planet, especially in the bow shock region as that solar wind density has just increased. Here are ground magnetic perturbations, and we do see some caused by protonic induction here. Please leave us a comment if you have a theory as to how the Earth's geomagnetic field is generated. We're looking to do a video about this because I have a hypothesis about it, and I'd like to suss out some of the details with Eugene Bagashov. Perhaps we'll do that later today. We'll see what happens. We did see a small C-class flare late in the day yesterday. Since then, no significant X-ray flares, just a background B X-ray range, just a regular old everyday X-ray flux. If you're up before dawn, you may see Mercury and Venus. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. There's where things will be in a week. And we cover that daily at the Smash News Network because a lot of folks seem to think that planetary alignments cause giant earthquakes. What happened to the planetary alignment between Jupiter and Saturn? I didn't see anything. Next, we see pretty high readings here from the GOES magnetometers. And it looks like the current sheet polarity crossing was right about here. That would be my guess. And yeah, so there's a 3-day chart in the GOES magnetometer. And we're still climbing here. Now solidly in the North Pole current sheet as forecasted. So here you can see this green portion of the current sheet here. Looking at the top view ecliptic plane field plot. And here's the last image, and you can see Earth's potential field surface source line. That's PFSS, potential field surface source line, now in the North Pole current sheet. And there we should remain as the South Pole, as the Southern Hemisphere is where the sunspots have been. Here's the line of sight field plot. No big changes in the B field. There's the last image on that. Keep in mind the data is 2 hours and 29 minutes old and can suddenly change. Next, the coronal field plot. Nothing to write home about there, really. And the corona is a bit of a highly variable environment, let's just say. Next, we'll look at Earth's electron flux, satellite charging hazards, and so on. As we look at the Van Allen belts, we don't really see any charging hazards. Electron flux is in a fairly normal range here, below alert levels. We're expecting it to drop down a little bit, and the more intense that coronal hole wind stream is, the farther that will drop. Here's the 3-day chart, and it looks like we're actually just about moving into warning territory here at 1,000 pulse flux units. Here is the total electron content, a visualization of the whole air column all the way to the thermosphere on down. We see continued anomalies here at nighttime around the equator, as well as over North America. I'll let it play through a second time so you see those big blobs of electrons forming there over North America. Not very far from one of the north geomagnetic poles, indeed. And next we're going to look at just one slice of this, just the ionosphere layer. And this is looking pretty normal here, in between the equinox and the solstice. There's the latest image at 12:30 Universal Time. We did see a large quake kickoff here. It's a 6+ magnitude, but it was at great depth, 416.9 kilometers. Let's do the whole rundown of the past 24. So the 6.0 there near Tonga was the largest quake. It looks like we saw a foreshock here at 20:54 Universal Time, and then 48 minutes after 0 hour Universal Time, we see this 6.0 magnitude quake kick off at 416 kilometers. And then only a few minutes later, we see a deep quake at Argentina, 4.5 magnitude at 181 kilometers. Another deep quake at Papua New Guinea, and then another deep quake at Bolivia. So a bit of an uptick there in deep quakes. No big quakes. Let's hope that that 6.0 magnitude was not a foreshock, as that could be a very, very bad tsunami generating zone. Looking at volcanoes of the past 24 hours here to see Abico. Uptick there at Abico. It's producing a 12,000 foot plume of ash. Sakurajima exploded. Uptick at Sakurajima as well. Flight level 090 there, 9,000 feet. Suwanosejima erupted. It's produced a 6,000 foot ash plume, 7,000 foot ash plume at Tokono, 14,000 foot ash plume as Fuego explodes, 22,000 foot ash plume as Sangay explodes, 14,000 foot ash plume at the explosive Reventador, and Sabancaya exploding. A little uptick at Sabancaya. It's producing a 27,000 foot ash plume. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Now we're looking at the surface winds here at this tropical system, and it has gained a little bit of intensity. Let's take a look at it at 250 hectopascal, and we see a significant disruption there. We don't see a counterclockwise. We don't see a clockwise rotation, but there's a stagnation there. So that's something. And we'll look at this in water vapor momentarily. First, we're going to look at the Western world's jets. There are the jet streams of the Western world. And as you can see, they're still quite meridional in nature. They have not flattened out by any stretch of the imagination, no matter how delusional and hallucinatory your imagination might happen to be. There are the jet streams of the eastern world. And I just wanted to touch briefly on snow. There is the snow mass right now for the northern hemisphere. And the last 3 winters, we saw this entire chart get moved because, well, we saw 2 standard deviations above normal snowfall for 2017 to 2018, 2018 to 2019, and 2019 to 2020. I'm forecasting slightly lower snow mass totals this year. It'll be maybe only 1 standard deviation above normal instead of 2 standard deviations above the 30-year average from 1982 to 2012. And we are well above 1 standard deviation, but not quite 2 standard deviations above normal. Anyway, there's the chart going into December, or halfway through November, rather. Here's the snowfall forecast for North America. We're going to cover this for once. I'll include Canada, sure. Here's the forecast. So there's the forecast through the weekend. And let's move on. Oh my God, I pressed the wrong button. Oh my God, we're seeing the code from windy.com. Holy cripes. Son of a beehive. And we saw some strong lightning out of that tropical storm to the west of Florida. Check it out. Here it is on the NASA GOES 16 lightning mapper. And frankly, if you're in Florida right now, if you're in a skyscraper in Orlando, go out and look west. Take a time-lapse video. You might see sprites. You might see green elves, green goblins, or who knows what. Take a time-lapse photo. It could be worthy of being published at spaceweather.com. Here's a U.S. Doppler Radar Map. Quite a lot of snow there fallen in southern Idaho and northwestern Utah. We saw wintry mix as we did show prep. It looks like it's ended. And let's take a look at this tropical system down here. I heard somebody saying that it has a distinctive eye wall now. I'm not seeing it. I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's deluded by his hallucinations. Here's a water vapor map. That should give you some idea of where this thing's going to move. It's a bit surrounded by dry air yet. And I don't expect that thing to intensify based on that. I think that thing is going to get weaker, as there is not a lot of moisture to help support that thing, and that dry air is associated with cooler temperatures most likely. I'm not going to show you a water temperature map, but if you want to get more detailed, that's what you want to look at. And thanks for tuning in, Smash team. Whether you viewed the Smash stream, or you viewed on BitChute, or you viewed wherever you viewed, thanks for tuning in. We've got bonus features. We're going to show you a 131 angstroms view. We're going to show you the current sunspot situation and magnetometer data. And we're going to show you the current umbral status. Thanks for flying in American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. Here's Sunspot 2781 in all of its colorized magnetogram glory. And it's been pretty stable since yesterday, although the trailing umbrae have broken down a little bit. The leading umbra is still quite burly. And here's rising Sunspot 2782, already beta class clearly. Here are the umbrae. And you can see Sunspot 2781 is slowly decaying here as it's losing its trailing umbrae, the North Pole oriented ones. And there's Sunspot 2782, and the trailing umbrae are stronger in this one. The South Pole leading umbrae are a little weaker. Here's a 131 angstroms view. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink it. If you do, don't drive. Don't forget to view our videos that we put up yesterday. We put up 2 no audio solar videos that are just videos of the sun, some close-ups of Sunspot 2782's rise, as well as a few months of data the one that's entitled smashomash.org presents The Sun. Anyway, we're out. Look for more content coming out later today. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Visit our links, and may that covidiocy be absent from your universe, or multiverse, or timeline, or wherever you're viewing the video from. Cheers.